comical. My career was laughable. Quitting my corporate job to pursue my passion for stand-up comedy sounded like a good idea 6 months ago, but now, with bills running high, I can't find a decent gig. I can't get a laugh out of a hyena. I need a new act, a niche, a punchline. I need a kicker that will keep the people going and the money flowing. Am I gonna get my big break? Staring into my almost empty fridge, I heard the crickets from my yard through the kitchen window. My eviction notice on the table lies taunting me of my failures. In my frustration, I bang on the table with a powerful boom. As hard as I can, I slam down, breaking one of the few pieces of furniture I have left. I rinsed my splintered skin in the sink, carefully removing the debris from my arms. I grabbed my tools and decided to keep carving as the sound of the crickets grew louder outside my window. All those endless nights, I lie awake in bed watching the sunrise after an unsuccessful set. The moment my girlfriend left after quitting my job, I pulled the eyes from her stuffed animal and inserted them into the sculpted face of my creation. I thought about my boss's face as I quit my job, shouting, "You'll all see," as I stared eye to eye with my creation. I stuffed it inside with the bad reviews and eviction notice. I used my broken mic stand to structure his body. Once used for rehearsals in the mirror of all of those days, planning and dreaming of a life of fame. My sadness swirled into rage and back again, and I chiseled away on the floor, marking its face with my blood to rosy its cheeks. I pulled out my hair to make its eyebrows, its mustache, gluing them on with care. I grabbed my sandpaper. Sanding the rough, splintered wood, I began to envision my way out. He would be my path to fame and fortune. Everything I needed was birthed in the dark, creative moments. My burdens placed upon his wooden frame. I dressed him in the bow tie from my first open mic and the suit when I was a baby that my mother left me. I cried and laughed, a twisted mix of emotions, as the key to my success was born. He had arrived. Mr. Punchline.
Ladies and gents, we have a special surprise for you tonight. A dynamic duo. Please give it up for our next comedic act, Buddy Kilroy and Mr. Punchline.
As soon as people recognize you,
they stop seeing you.
Antibody got expectations,
Demands.
opinions.
Access.
Hold up, let me talk.
I am letting you talk.
So, Mr. Punchline, you think fame worth it?
Depends.
On what?
What you're going to lose.
Man, people lose sleep chasing fame.
Sleep. The first thing they take.
Nah.
Second thing is privacy.
Okay. What's the third?
Memory.
What?
You already forgot.
Forgot what?
The first joke you ever told.
Nah,
And who told it to you?
Van, fame don't take that.
It don't take. It trades. Yes. If without payment.
I seemed to reawaken from a dream to wondrous applause. Mr. Punchline was bowing, and so was I. Our set was a success, but something felt unnatural. I couldn't remember anything after the very beginning of my performance, and I thought that Mr. Punchline spoke without my help. Just then, my creation turned toward me with his twisted smile and winked. as we turned to leave the stage. I'd never heard such a reaction from a crowd. It soothed my nervous soul. My heart was pounding, but I couldn't tell why. Terror and applause still feels like love. That night, I tried to rest, but I couldn't sleep. I longed to share my excitement with someone, to tell them about my first successful show. I kept replaying my time on stage, tried to remember the jokes I told to drive the crowd so wild, but I couldn't grasp the memory. Mr. Punchline's body sprawled on the floor, the same dead eyes and twisted smile as always, carved from my pain. I loved him. I hated him. I needed him. "There you go, pal," I said as I set him back in the chair. Punchline's arm reached out and grabbed mine as I pulled away. I shrieked in terror, staring at the stiff being I sat still on the floor. I must be losing my mind, I thought to myself. I felt panicked yet intrigued. Punchline faced toward the wall, began to speak.
What's it feel like? The moment you realize they're clapping for me and not you?
His small body rattled as he turned to look at me. His mouth now still, I began to think I'd imagined it. Lack of sleep, I thought. I reached out to grab the puppet, to set him back in his rightful place and try my best to forget even more. As I held his limp body, I heard,
When you lose yourself and let me take over, that's when it happens. The applause. I could give you more of that if you just let me drive.
I flipped Punchline over to face me, eyes locked. His mouth did not move. We simply looked at each other for what seemed like eternity. I slid my hand up his back. The following morning, I awoke with a terrible headache. My body felt sore and I couldn't remember going to bed. I tried to think of what I was doing last night around bedtime, and it quickly felt like trying to peer through stained glass. I remember the smell of cognac and cigarettes. I could smell old books. I remember washing my hands a little too long and noticed ink on my fingers. Ow! My headache stretched into a migraine. I grabbed my scalp, which seemed to be scabbing. Did I hit my head? I wondered. Coffee would help. I hoped so. I headed towards the kitchen where I noticed my joke book on the kitchen counter. I opened it and saw the words, "You're killing me," etched across in what looked like a twisted imitation of my handwriting. I panicked. I quickly shut it and turned on the radio.
This just in. Beloved critic writer in the Evening Ledger newspaper, Leonard Price, has been found dead this morning. Authorities have no current leads and are asking for tips on any information that might lead to solving this case.
Leonard Price was a smug prick who made my career a laughingstock with his first review of my comedy set. Him being in the audience on opening night, I just knew it would help me get my big break. He smiled and shook my hand, all to lead and write a stinker. I might have bombed, but he could have given me a break. It was my first time after all. Screw that guy. Funny thing about critics, they think they're describing pain. They're actually assigning it. I heard Punchline's voice from across the room. He was sitting on the counter next to my journal with a pen. I don't remember sitting him there. I grabbed him to take him to the room. As soon as I grabbed his wooden body, an image flashed in my mind. Price's suffocating face with hands around his neck, his shoes scraping the pavement. "You're killing me," Price said, laughingly as the light left his eyes. His smile quickly wiped away by terror. His cigarette drops to the ground from his ink-covered hands. Suddenly, I dropped Punchline to the ground. Why did that feel like a memory? I drew myself back to regather. I felt sick to my stomach. Suddenly, my glass began to rattle. My light fixture swayed. What began as a few claps rolled into a thunderous applause, shaking my apartment. It seeped through the walls and trembled the structure like a terrible earthquake. I began to laugh and cry. Hello? I grabbed the phone and stared across the room as my creature stared back at me in silence.
Buddy, we've been trying to reach you. Listen, don't ask me how, but that last performance is making waves.
The producer said enthusiastically.
We got a spot. National broadcast. You and the dummy, live.
The applause started again. The earth-shaking roar of the audience became clear. This was a memory from the first performance.
Buddy, come on, kid. Say something.
He said. Yeah, I replied. We'll be there. The dressing room lights were blinding. The grandeur of the mirror-laced room caused delirium. Unable to escape my disturbed reflection, I felt trapped in a funhouse. My throat tightened, chest heavy. I can do this, I tried to convince myself. My cursed friend smiling through his cracked face. I saw my solution. The only way.
What happened out there, kid? I hope the performance is better than the rehearsal.
The producer said, tearing his hat-covered head through the dressing room door. We'll be ready, I replied instantly. I looked into the mirror, and my face began to crack like the old wood on the kitchen table the night I first created Mr. Punchline. The applause erupted, shaking the mirrors, distorting the imagery. It transforms, sounding more like a storm. Mr. Punchline sat where I left him, straight-backed, patient. That's when the panic loosened its grip. Not all at once, but like fingers opening after holding something too tightly for too long. Like hands around the neck of Leonard Price. The quiet became clear. Relief settled in like madness. I don't have to carry it alone. I understood. I adjusted my tie and his. The red light came on to signal me on showtime. I took a final glimpse of my reflection one last time. As I stepped into the hall, the noise swallowed me whole. For the first time, I didn't resist it. I slipped my hand off his stiff back, gripping my future, trading my life and my soul for his.